That says, "What will I become?" which was 2 weeks ago, and this is a follow-up to "What will I become?" So we're all in alignment here. Good morning, everybody. It's really nice to be here with all of you. As a speaker at any Sunday morning service, it amazes me how things just fall into place and just kind of all work out, right? And I walked in the door this morning, and Sky and Carla and Pete were all working very diligently to try and get Zoom to work and the computers to tie in together, etc. And there was no panic, there was no yelling at each other. Everything was, they were just working together, right? And yes, and we knew that, or I knew, let me say it this way, I knew that no matter what, we were going to have a Sunday morning service, and I was going to speak to you this morning, and we were going to figure it all out on the fly if we had to. So I want to have you please thank this trio of people for getting this to work. So thank you very much. Very cool, very cool. The other thing I love is how things work together regarding songs. That song that Faith Rivera just sang, it's one of my favorites of hers, and I met her a long time ago, probably 2011. She was the guest musician at a women's retreat, so she was there all weekend, and we got to hear a lot of music from her. And she was just amazing. But this song fits what I want to talk to you about, right? This freedom to play is a follow-up to the talk I did 2 weeks ago about what am I becoming? Who am I here to be? Like, what is this all about? Setting intentional intentions, consciously setting these intentions to go out into the world and show the world what the divine looks like on a human level, right? Is there, and you won't get in trouble if you didn't, but did anybody play with this at all? After I gave that talk on Sunday? I'm seeing a couple heads nodding. Yes, yay, good. Okay, so it's what I'm here today to remind you of is that this is something that you can do at any time. It doesn't have to be a particular season or anything like that. You can do it any time, but it's playful. It can be playful. It's not something like, all right, Kathleen on Sunday told me that I have to go home and consciously choose these intentions and make it work. You don't want it to be a job, right? It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be, I'm going to get up this morning and I'm going to be, and set an intention. I reminded you a couple weeks ago, there's a couple of books out there. There's a little pamphlet from Unity called Today I Am, and lots of choices in there. There's another book that I found from 3 Unity ministers who wrote it together called Who Have You Come Here to Be, with 101 suggestions as to what to be. So I did do the assignment. I went home, and for the last couple of weeks, I've been playing around with this kind of stuff. So first of all, what came to me was an affirmation that I had remembered from a long time ago, 2010, 2011, back in the beginning when I first found Unity. And the affirmation was this: I am happy, healthy, whole, prosperous, and loved. I was at a little workshop with Reverend Valerie Crabtree. She had written the book Universe Responding, and I just remember, I don't know why 5 things came to me that day, right? I thought that was a little much, but it stuck, and it stuck with me for a long time. I am happy, healthy, whole, prosperous, and loved. So I decided to take it a step further. Capitalize those words and make them nouns. I'm not happy. I'm happiness, with a capital H. I'm not healthy. I'm health in expression, capital H. Divine health in expression. Wholeness instead of whole. Prosperity instead of prosperous. And love, divine love instead of love. Right? Now, it's not wrong to say I am loving, I am caring, I am healthy, I am whole. None of that's wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm telling you where this brain goes. And I just took it a step further. And then I decided to experiment with what does it look like if I'm out in the world and I go to work, or if I go to the grocery store, or if I go to the library, what does it look for me to go into that library and express I am wholeness, right? If I go to the voting center, I voted early. I hope you're all scheduled to vote if you haven't done so already. Vote for the world that we could all benefit from, and whatever that may be to you. And I went to vote. What does I am happiness look like to the clerk behind the desk who has 17 people lined up in a row, who has to go through the same speech over and over and over again, right? I happened to go on Halloween, and they were all dressed up in costumes. And the clerk that helped me was a disco cop. And she had mirror, like a disco cap on, but it was all like mirrored. And so she looked like a disco ball, and she had the police badge, was all blinged out. It was really cool. But she didn't look happy because she was really working hard. And so what does it look like for me to show up and say, I am happiness. Here I am. Take some from me. We've all got it. We've all got these qualities inside of us, but some days are better than others. I'm going to be honest with you. Not every day I'm looking very happy, right? I'm not demonstrating to the best of my ability happiness, but if I consciously choose it in the morning, I have a better chance at demonstrating it during the course of the day. So I am happy, healthy, whole, prosperous, and loved becomes I am happiness, health, wholeness, prosperity, and love. I don't know about you, but for me, I just show up differently when I use that, right? So the other thing I shared a couple of weeks ago, and I'm just going to repeat it because some people were not here, is that when I first found Unity and went to my first women's retreat, they were using the book, Who Have You Come Here to Be? And when I registered for the retreat, when I arrived, we each got a card of what we had come here to be. And my card was, I have come here to be safe. Okay? And when I went to the workshop Saturday, because we checked in Friday night, and I went to the workshop on Saturday, and everybody had a little card on each chair. And I went there, and I picked my card, and it was, I have come here to be safe. Freaked me out a little bit because I wasn't used to Unity, wasn't used to thinking about energy and vibes and the universe conspiring for me, right? Freaked me out a little bit. Because when I first found Unity, I was kind of a shell of a person. I had been raised in a traditional church, and I was taught to never question anything. In Unity, ministers were telling me all the time, question it all. And that really went against everything I had been taught. So it took a while for me to, unlearn a lot of the things that I grew up learning. And so here I am, I've got these two cards, I've come here to be safe, and I am crying like a baby. The reason being that I was almost murdered when I was 16 years old, and I never felt safe. Never felt safe. I didn't really know that. I didn't really understand that. I never really looked at it, didn't want to look at it, right? But I never really felt safe. And that card was just, I think, I've chosen to interpret this as the cards were there to help prompt me into understanding I really was. Right? So I looked it up this week when I was writing this talk for you. And I just want to share this with you because I really think it speaks to a lot of things that a lot of us might be going through right now. So in the book, Who Have You Come Here to Be? When you look up the page that says, I have come here to be safe, this is what it says. Is it safe to roam the neighborhood of your mind? Is it safe to roam the neighborhood of your mind? Well, you know what that made me think of? Years ago, it was never safe to go up here alone. Never safe to go into my own head by myself, right? It says, do you treat yourself with kindness and respect as you would a treasured child? If there is a critical voice within you that is speaking unkindly, turn instead to the loving compassion of your heart. The heart is a safe haven of unconditional love. Come home to the safety of your heart. Now, I know that I read that little passage when I got those 2 little cards, but boy, do they mean a lot more now. Having been in Unity for a while, having gone through the classes of becoming an LUT first, and then deciding to go into ministerial school and going through those classes, etc. All of this just hits home for me. I often felt like I had been criticized as a child and as a young adult. I was the worst critic in the world of my own self. Pete talked earlier about self-love. It was very tough for me to even consider that I could love myself as I was, right? If I just lose a little bit of weight, if I just get a little bit prettier, if I get a better job, if I get a different husband, if I do this, if I do that, right? Then they'll like me. Then I'll be okay. That kind of thinking. And if there is a critical voice within you that is speaking unkindly, and I definitely had that critical voice, I can turn to the loving compassion of my heart. We all have that. I believe that that's where divine love rests, right? I believe that's where that inner source, that spirit that guides us, divine mind is right here with us, inside of us. And it guides us to go out into the world and be happiness, prosperity, love, whatever you choose. You don't have to just choose one, by the way. You can, but you don't have to. Do it any way you're led to do it. Right? The affirmation in the book says, I release self-judgment and criticism. I am filled with the nurturing comfort of unconditional love in my heart and know I am safe. Now, for someone like me who grew up where I did, who went through that traumatic experience, who had a couple of other traumatic experiences after that as well, I can stand here today and I can say I truly do feel safe. I do. They use the quote from Maya Angelou that says, the ache for home lives in all of us. The safe place where we can go as we are and not be questioned. My biggest problem was that I questioned myself. Is there anybody else here who might relate to that? just a little bit, maybe? Yeah. I questioned myself all the time. I never trusted myself. I never trusted my gut. So this whole thing, reading it, 12, 13 years later, big difference. I've read it from time to time, but it hits me in a whole new way. And that just goes to tell me that we're never going to stop growing, right? If we stay open, if we show up to Unity, if we listen to different messages from different people, we are always going to continue to evolve. We're going to question things. We're going to say, wow, do I really believe this? Do I really believe that? And if I do, what am I going to do to show the world that I really do believe this? Especially in this, where we are right now. We're 3 days away from the election, right? 2 days, thank you. Thank you. Can't count. 2 days away from the election. And we in Unity say everyone, doesn't say everyone but those in Washington, D.C. It says everyone has the Christ presence within them. Everyone has the Christ presence within them. The Christ presence in me is seeking to meet up with the Christ presence in you. And even though people are not always demonstrating that, it is still there. Do I believe that? This is a tough time to ask that question, and it's the perfect time to ask that question. For me, it brings me a little bit of comfort to remind me, what am I going to learn from this? What am I going to do about it? How am I going to treat people? Me personally, I'm turning off social media for 3 days for now, and I'll wait until it's all over and see what happens. And I will continue to hold the country and all of its inhabitants in my heart and send out the vibes I can send out. Right? Okay, so we fast forward. And this is how the universe works for me, because I'm working on this talk, right? And I'm thinking about what it means to be I am safe. And guess what comes up on October 30th for the daily word of 2024? The word is safe. So yes, you're going to hear about it. The scripture quote they used was from Psalm 40:11. Let your steadfast love and your faithfulness keep me safe forever. Right? And so what that translates to is love and faithfulness. I can choose to consciously make the intention of I am faithfulness and show people out in the world what that's all about. Right? It says, I make the most out of my life, trusting in spiritual safety. Sometimes feeling frightened can be fun during a scary movie or a spooky carnival attraction, for instance. When the movie ends, I return to the world as I know it. I may have been scared, but I realize I was always safe. My experience of life can be similar. Whether I'm trying to do something for the first time, going out on a limb, or even risking my heart by sharing myself with someone I trust, the experience can be scary. I can assuage my fear by reminding myself I am safe in God, no matter the circumstance. Knowing and trusting this spiritual truth makes my life the adventure it was meant to be. I'm a divine being, wondrously and abundantly blessed and poised to do amazing things. I do not shrink from life, I embrace it. I don't know how that hits you, but for me, I did not embrace life for many, many years. I was existing, I was surviving, I was not living. I know that some of it has to do with the fact that I didn't feel safe, right? To the point where, you guys have heard this story before, but some of you don't know me as well, to the point where I was so worried that people weren't going to like me, etc., that I didn't even know what kind of soda I liked after my last divorce. Because I always bought the soda that the husband wanted, right? So one husband liked Coca-Cola and one husband liked Pepsi, and so that's what the house had. And as soon as I went through that last divorce, I went to the grocery store and I stood there staring at the soda aisle, having no idea. Do I like Pepsi? Do I like Coca-Cola? I don't know. I never thought about it. I mean, that's how drastic it was for me. And I didn't realize it. I mean, it sounds kind of sad when I say it out loud, but I didn't know the extent of how much I really was just allowing others to make my decisions, even when they didn't even know it, right? They didn't know it. It turns out I like Pepsi, by the way, because some of you will be wondering about that. So it turns out to be Pepsi, yes. But here's the thing. I tell you all of this about myself to see if I have seen some heads nodding as I've been speaking, because I think these stories help to bring about, maybe you're relating a little bit, maybe you're identifying a little bit with what I'm describing to you, right? I don't know each of your experiences in detailed form, but I know that we have a common bond, right? I do know that we're connected. I believe in oneness. I believe very strongly in oneness. I believe that bond can never, ever be broken. Even when I say, that's it, I'm done, I'm breaking the bond, I can't do it. Right? I believe that with all of my heart. And I know that we can relate to each other a little bit. So let's go back to the original title of Freedom to Play. Right? In Faith Rivera's song, God Is, one line says, where I work, love is my career. What if we all decided to make that our conscious intention this week, this month, this year, right? Where I work, love is my career. What if I show up to work every day demonstrating that I am divine love in expression? What could that look like in the work environment? What could it look like as it spreads, right? Because other people are affected by us. Let's face it. Sometimes they look at me weird when I try to demonstrate divine love in work. They don't know what to do with it. But that's okay. That's okay. You know? It's a ripple effect, right? Think about dropping a pebble in a pond. My mentor, Jim Rosemergy, used to talk about that a lot, dropping a pebble in a pond. Because when you drop it, then you can see all the ripples going out in the water, right? So if I go to work and I'm demonstrating love and expression, right? Divine love in a human way, and I'm showing it, and then they take it home with them, and then their family members take it elsewhere, it could really spread like wildfire. Why not?
Right.
I'm going to say something, I'm going to make a bold statement here. Hate seems to spread very quickly. We can make love spread just as quickly, if not more quickly. Right? Okay. So that's the suggestion. There will be no grading involved. We will not be checking on homework. This is all up to you, however you decide to take these suggestions and take them home with you. When I come back, when am I back? I think the first week in December I'm back, so we'll be talking about Advent, so nobody's even going to follow up with it, right? So you're totally free to play with this conscious choosing of intentions. Are we in? Yes? Yay! And so it is. Amen. Let's take some of these ideas into meditation. I'm going to invite you to get comfortable wherever you're seated. And just, just start with some deep breaths. If you feel comfortable doing so, you can close your eyes. You don't have to. And just focus on the breath coming in and going out. Focusing on setting intentions at a deeper, more spiritual level. May the words that I speak now be the words of your own heart. Today, I am wholeness in expression. What divine qualities can I develop with this intention? What can I bring to any situation I may come up to? Today I am divine love in expression. Where it is safe to roam the neighborhood of my own mind. Where I treat myself with kindness and respect. I turn to the loving compassion in my heart. That safe haven. truly believe I am a divine being. I'm abundantly blessed, poised to do amazing things. Today I remember that I am safe in God. I am safe in the divine. Knowing and trusting this spiritual truth allows me to accept that my life is the adventure it was meant to be. What can I bring to the situation? What divine qualities am I developing? Take these thoughts into the silence. Today I know I am filled with the nurturing comfort of unconditional love in my heart. And I demonstrate this for all. Everyone I come in contact with will see this demonstration and will be affected in a positive way. Not only am I poised to do amazing things, I am doing amazing things. And so it is. Amen. Before you open your eyes, just take a couple of deep breaths to bring you back to this place and this time. You may want to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And after a few deep breaths, you may open your eyes when you're ready. Welcome back, friends.
Thank you, Kathleen. That was beautiful.